What's good, everybody? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. If you guys have been watching my channel, you know that I've been critical of Angel Reese's behavior, some of the shenanigans that are going on with her. But there was recently a game where her and Caitlin Clark played, and there was a personal or flagrant foul issued by Caitlin Clark onto Angel Reese. There was some commotion, and obviously, you know, Caitlin Clark is kind of the face of WNBA. And if you guys remember, about 2 years ago, Angel Reese's LSU team beat her Iowa's team, and then the subsequent year thereafter, Iowa blew out LSU, I believe, put them out of the tournament. And so since the WNBA years, it seems that even Angel and her mother have been hating against the Caitlin Clark hype. It is clear that Caitlin Clark is the face of women's basketball, and that does kind of bother Angel Reese a little bit. But Robert Griffin III, former quarterback, had a lot to say about this incident.
So where was this type of reaction last year when Angel Reese got chokeslammed by Alyssa Thomas of the Connecticut Sun? Y'all remember that? She got fouled so hard, they kicked Aaliyah Thomas out the game with a flagrant 2 foul. What did Angel Reese do? Nothing. She didn't get up and try to swing on her. You know why? The reaction was different because of who did it. And there is a lot of history there with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. You guys remember last year when Angel Reese celebrated Kennedy Carter getting that flagrant foul on the hip check against Caitlin Clark? You remember that? On the sideline, just, yeah, baby, get her, you get her. Who celebrates like that for a flagrant foul on another player if they don't dislike that player? Okay, you want some more evidence? Here's some more evidence. Remember last year when they were talking about who gets the credit for the expansion and the eyeballs and the popularity boost of women's basketball? Not just the WNBA, but women's basketball in general, because of the spike in the women's NCAA tournament and WNBA viewership. A lot of people were attributing that to Caitlin Clark, and rightfully so. This is what Angel Reese had to say, and I quote, "People are talking about women's basketball. You never would think they'd be talking about women's basketball. People are pulling up to the games. We got celebrities coming to the games, sold out arenas, just because of one single game. Just looking at that, I'll take that role. I'll take the bad guy role, and I'll continue to take that on to be that for my teammates. I know I'll go down in history. I'll look back in 20 years and be like, the reason we're watching women's basketball is not just because of one person. It's because of me too. I want y'all to realize that." Now, I heard a lot of people say that I or others have made Angel Reese the villain. Did you not just hear herself call herself the bad guy? She called herself the villain. I'm not making her the villain. She's making herself the villain.
Now, this is something that people are talking about, his commentary, and other brothers are tight.
That a lot of us know, when I say us, AKA magically melanated, AKA black people, Robert Griffin III is one of those that he prejudges white people. And he automatically assumes the white people that he talked to, he worked with, he worked for, the white people that he's around, he automatically assumed that they don't like black people. So he's going to go out of his way to show that he don't like black people either. Because he's going to say some things to promote them while downing, AKA black people. He's done it over and over and over again. And this is another one of those instances. For him to buy into or help perpetuate the stereotype of an angry black woman with Angel Reese.
Shout out to this brother here, Mr. Holiday. But then we also have Ryan Clark.
Although when RG3 jumps on to the hate train or to the angry train, and now follows along with what we saw from Keith Olbermann, what we saw from Dave Portnoy, as they poured on to Angel Reese to make her the villain in Caitlin Clark's heroic or hero story. Right. The one thing we know about RG3 is he's not having conversations at his home about what black women have to endure.
So here's what's going on. You have the brother that was giving the commentary, and he's saying that RG3 is talking about this to appease white people. And what Ryan Clark is saying, that, hey, you're not talking in your home about the issues that black women go through. In other words, you don't have a black wife, so you don't have the ability to speak on the issues. Now, let me tell you where the real situation happens. And you guys know I'm a pro-black. I use some of the same similar rhetoric that these brothers use. But listen to what he says logically. He's not telling a lie, okay? RG3, I don't think he's insulting Angel Reese. He's giving an opinion. He's using her own words in his opinion. But what is the problem is the fact that while he is talking about Angel Reese, here is the white wife in the background. So the optic is, you're talking about somebody who happens to be black with this white woman, and we know that you love white women. And even though what I feel he's giving is fair sports commentary, that now becomes eroded because of who you have in the background agreeing with you, talking about a black player. And that is what people have an issue with. All right. Now, I want to say, you know, when we're talking about sports, we are talking about sports. And what RG3 needs to do to avoid these situations is, a lot of the sports players are black. We know you're married to a white woman. It's not necessary for you to have the white woman there when the white woman is not on the camera. We're not there to see her. And it's like, you're so proud of having this white wife that, you know, people are not gonna want to listen to what you got to talk about. All right. But on the other hand, we got to be serious and understand that Angel Reese has a problem. Okay. Angel Reese has a problem. And it's not just a Caitlin Clark problem. Angel Reese has an attitude problem. Angel Reese is a crash out in many cases. And a lot of people believe that Angel Reese is a poor sport in general. Okay. And a lot of times what we want to do is give black people a pass or black women a pass, when obviously Angel Reese was applauding when Caitlin Clark got a personal or a flagrant foul from, she was doing that. Then when somebody wants to call that out, all of a sudden, well, you don't understand the issues that black women go through. I don't want to hear it, Ryan. Angel Reese, all of her issues that she has, she calls on herself. Angel Reese can barely make layups, all right? And Angel Reese does have, in many ways, what we would consider a poor attitude, an entitled attitude, and that has nothing to do with what black women go through. It has everything to do what Angel Reese is putting herself through. Okay? And her behavior cannot always be justified, although y'all want to make it justifiable. And I think that's just crap. Why do we always have to justify a black person's bad disposition and then turn around and then say it's racism all the time, when all the time it ain't racism? This is why you have that whole terminology of black fatigue, which I think is BS, but the way that white folks want to use it, I mean, and what we're doing in many ways is playing into that. At every given chance, we want to go head on and give black people an out. When what I heard him say about Angel Reese, Ryan Clark could not debate it based on logic. What RG3 said was articulate in many ways, okay? And the thing about RG3, once you're gonna do something like have the white woman in the background, he will make, and he's a smart guy, right? He was like the high school class president, went to Baylor. He is gonna make sure that he's not gonna make very many mistakes. He's gonna talk about things and come with the facts. That's why he used her own words against him. He's gonna do that. Ryan Clark needs to respond in such a way that doesn't really have anything to do with race. If I see this and the white woman's in the background, he's talking about Angel Reese, that white woman in the background as an optic is a bad look. But I'm forced to deal with what he's talking about. Now, if he says, I feel like he hates her or she hates him or whatever, that's an opinion. It really doesn't have anything to do with the white woman in the back, but we do know what side RG3 is on. We know that. RG3 is not gonna change it. He loved white women. It's his second white wife. The white woman is back there. I think she's from like Finland or some part of Europe or whatever. We know the brother's a sellout. That's all good and dandy. But when you have somebody like this, you must deal with the arguments, because he's not dealing with anything outside of his position. And we're caught up in the emotionalism of it. And being caught in the emotionalism of it means that we don't have a response to what RG3 is saying and what he's saying about Angel Reese. And my honest opinion, outside of that white woman being there, is absolutely true. What makes it bad is, brother, why are you, even though you're right on what you're talking about, this optic isn't necessary. You're taken away from your own position, okay? You're taken away from it. It wasn't a bad take, okay? Anybody would have had a hard time disagreeing with what you're saying, especially when you laid it down that, oh, here are her own words. Ryan Clark can't debate that. He had a hard time, but you cannot stop. This isn't the first time that RG3 has tried to sexualize his white wife, whether it's grabbing her booty, looking at her booty. It's like you do these things just so that you can go viral and that you can do crazy stuff like this. And I mean, you got what you deserve. That's what it is. So guys, what do we think? It's your boy O'Shea Duke Jackson back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. Which is for all you do, turn the bell. We out.